What's up, guys? PowerManX720 here, and I have for you today top 8 from the West Hartford Premier Challenge. So my opponent is Jerry Sandiford, who I played in round 2. Unfortunately, I didn't get a lot of good info from his team because I pretty much took them out pretty quick, which kind of sucks. But it also gave me confidence going into the match. But I knew he had a really solid team, and I also got lucky, so I definitely was going to have to play better. Otherwise, I could be in big trouble. So, right off the bat, just go for the Sludge Bomb right onto that Zapdos. And then he goes for the Thunderbolt onto my Suicune. And it actually almost KOs it, which I was pretty surprised by. As Suicune just goes for the Tailwind. Because, of course, that's like the easiest thing to do. As Swampert goes for the Icy Wind. And is able to hit both targets. And, of course, it's going to do nothing to either of them except lower their speed, which is nice. So, Suicune's going to heal back a little bit of health. So the... What is that? The Zapdos switches out as I just Sludge Bomb into a Bisharp. And I also go for the Ice Beam on that slot. I doubled into to try and knock out the Suicune, or the Zapdos. And I actually hit the Freeze, which was kind of sucky. As he goes for the Waterfall, which does a pretty good chunk of damage to Gengar. He stays frozen, which really sucks because I don't want to win that way, but I go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Swampert to cripple it and to get some chip damage off. And Scald does an okay amount of damage as the Waterfall comes out onto Gengar, and I do at this point expect the KO even at -2. I mean, even though it's at -2, but actually Gengar hangs on, which I was pretty surprised by. So I know that at this point I'm just going to lose Gengar this turn pretty much. So I could switch it out, but he actually ends up thawing out, which I was surprised by, but he attacks the Suicune instead of the Gengar, but that was a pretty smart move. I thought at first it was kind of a bad move, but then I realized, well, I mean, he knows I can't KO him with Shadow Ball, so... And he goes for the Icy Wind, so... Pick up the KO there. Well, he picks up 2 KOs there, so now I'm down 4-2. I've done almost no damage, but the good thing is I have burned his... I guess I can't say I've done no damage, but... I burned his Swampert, which is nice, and I broke his Sash also, which is nice. So he withdraws Swamp Fang, and he actually switches in his Mega Immense, which isn't Mega yet, which really sucks because of course I have 2 physical attackers left, and they both take the hits. So my Lopunite reacts with the Mega Ring. And he protects with the thingy. So I go for the Iron Head onto Swampert or Samus spot, and that still does a pretty good chunk of damage sitting at -1. And I just low kick into the Bisharp. So he switches out back into Swamp Thing, which is a pretty good move because at this point the Swampert's useless. So you might as well shuffle the Intimidate and get a free switch in back to it immediately. So I go for the Ice Punch onto Swampert because I thought it was Mega Immense. Pick up the KO. And of course I go for the Close Combat onto Zapdos, which does nothing. So at this point the match is looking pretty grim because I have 2 Pokemon at -1, about to go to -2. And of course my Cobalion's at -1 for both of its defenses, so I'm pretty concerned at this point. And also I know at -2 my Ice Punch can't KO. But I also know he thinks I'm going to Ice Punch here, because that's kind of the obvious move. So I double into the Zapdos, so that because I figure Zapdos is going to Thunderbolt the Cobalion, which I really can't lose. And so Lopunny, I just go for the return onto Zapdos, and it survives, and I was pissed. But then Iron Head picks up the KO anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So at this point in the match, I pretty much know it's over. I just figured I Ice Punch, he survives, then he double edges, and I lose. He goes for the Sucker Punch on Lopunny, which I was a little surprised about. Ice Punch comes out, and of course doesn't pick up the KO. But then my Cobalion actually outspeeds and hits the Stone Edge on the Mens and picks up the KO, and I was shocked. So of course that's one of the big disadvantages to running Modest or Adamant Ments, is that it really doesn't... You lose that speed. I mean, that allows you to get burned by Gengar, allows you to get hit by Stone Edges or Rock Slides from these Justice Pokemon. So he Sucker Punches Cobalion. I get my justified boost, but I mean, it didn't really matter anyway, as I pick up the low kick KO with Lopunny. So that was game 1 of top 8. So stay tuned for game 2.